For over 2 centuries, the United States of America has stood as a beacon, a sprawling, dynamic experiment in liberty, born from revolution. Its very name evokes a specific destiny, a triumph of self-determination etched into the annals of human history. But what if that destiny, so seemingly inevitable, had never come to pass? What if the defiant spark that ignited the American Revolution, the very crucible in which a nation was forged, had instead been extinguished? Imagine for a moment a world fundamentally altered. A world where the 13 colonies, the crucible of nascent American identity, remained firmly tethered to the British crown. A different flag flying over vast swaths of a continent we know so well. A North America profoundly, irrevocably un-American. Tonight, we delve into the shadows of what might have been, exploring the tantalizing question, what if the American Revolution had failed? The year is 1776. The air is thick with rebellion. But in this alternate reality, the resolve falters. Perhaps General Washington's strategic brilliance is undermined by a crucial error at the Battle of Trenton, or the brutal winter at Valley Forge proves too much, leading to widespread desertion. French aid, hesitant in our timeline, never materializes, fearing a protracted, unwinnable conflict. The Loyalists, a formidable force even in our history, gain an insurmountable advantage, bolstered by fresh British regulars and Hessian mercenaries. The Continental Army, outmatched and outmaneuvered, is systematically crushed. The dream of an independent United States dies, not with a bang, with the grim finality of a defeated army surrendering its arms. The iconic figures we revere as founding fathers meet vastly different fates. George Washington, the stoic general, is not celebrated as the father of a nation, but tried as a traitor, his name forever synonymous with sedition. His execution, perhaps by hanging on the Boston Common, serves as a chilling deterrent for future dissenters, a stark message from the crown. Benjamin Franklin, the celebrated polymath, might find himself imprisoned in the Tower of London, his diplomatic genius tragically unfulfilled, or perhaps, in a twist of imperial pragmatism, offered a limited pardon, allowed to pursue scientific endeavors under constant surveillance, his political wings clipped forever. Thomas Jefferson, architect of liberty, could face exile to some distant corner of the empire, his ideals echoing hollowly in the absence of a receptive audience. The very concept of American exceptionalism is stillborn, replaced by the enduring, unwavering authority of the British Empire. With the rebellion decisively quelled, British North America enters a new era. The punitive measures are harsh, but strategically calculated. Assemblies are dissolved or severely curtailed, replaced by royally appointed governors and councils. Taxation remains, but perhaps more judiciously applied, as the Crown, having learned a bitter lesson, seeks to integrate rather than simply dominate. The vast territory stretching west, which in our world fueled American expansion, now become the Crown's exclusive domain. Westward settlement is tightly controlled, often by chartered companies and aristocratic landholders, preventing the rapid, independent frontier culture that defined much of early American history. The War of 1812, a pivotal moment in the forging of American identity, simply never occurs. The Canadian border, a locus of conflict in our timeline, remains a peaceful, internal administrative boundary within the larger British Empire. Global geopolitics shift dramatically. The French Revolution, deprived of the ideological precedent set by a successful American rebellion, might still occur, but its trajectory could be less radical, its impact on the rest of Europe less explosive. The very notion of republicanism, of overthrowing monarchical rule, would be significantly weakened, its most potent example having been crushed. Without an independent United States to serve as a haven for revolutionaries or a model for self-governance, in this timeline, the engines of innovation, though still powerful, hum to a slightly different rhythm. The raw, pragmatic ingenuity that often characterizes American invention, driven by the needs of a rapidly expanding frontier and a fiercely independent spirit, is somewhat subdued.
Instead, technological and scientific progress in British North America is more systematically driven, often by the needs of empire. Vast steam-powered networks of rail connect resource-rich interior provinces to coastal ports, primarily to feed the insatiable appetite of British industry. Imagine sprawling, vertical farming structures in densely populated colonial cities engineered by British agriculturalists to feed an expanding populace, utilizing intricate steam-driven irrigation systems. Perhaps even a more advanced form of telegraphy or early radio communication emerges earlier, crucial for maintaining administrative control across such a vast territory. However, the absence of independent intellectual centers, the competitive spirit of diverse universities, might mean that certain theoretical breakthroughs or disruptive technologies take longer to manifest. Thinkers like Nikola Tesla or Thomas Edison might still exist, but their genius would be channeled differently, perhaps into refining existing British industrial processes or designing more efficient imperial infrastructure. We might see steam-powered semi-automated looms in New England factories decades before their actual invention, or elaborate hydraulic systems for resource extraction in the vast mineral-rich territories of the Canadian Shield. Entire fields of study focused on individual liberty and democratic governance, so vital in our world, would be relegated to the fringes if they existed at all. The drive for mass consumerism, so characteristic of our America, could be replaced by a more stratified market, catering to the distinct needs of the gentry, the colonial administrators, and the working classes. Daily life in British North America would resonate with a distinctly familiar yet alien rhythm. The relentless pursuit of individual opportunity, the rugged self-reliance that came to define the American character would be less pronounced. Instead, a greater emphasis on social order, tradition, and one's place within the established hierarchy would permeate society. Afternoon tea would be a cherished ritual across all classes, from the grand estates of Virginia to the bustling port cities of New York. Cricket, not baseball, would be the national pastime, played on meticulously kept greens, symbolizing fair play and decorum. Language would retain its crisp, formal British inflection. The colorful, evolving tapestry of American slang, the regional dialects that give our United States its linguistic richness, might never fully develop. Literature would largely follow British trends, perhaps with North American authors contributing to an overarching imperial canon, rather than forging a unique American voice. There would be no Ralph Waldo Emerson waxing poetic about self-reliance, no Walt Whitman celebrating the common man, no Mark Twain capturing the rough and tumble spirit of the frontier in uniquely American prose. Instead, we might see more colonial romances, odes to imperial splendor, or perhaps a darker, more melancholic strain of literature exploring the quiet disappointments of a destiny unfulfilled. Culturally, North America would be a vast extension of the British Isles, a blend of English, Scottish, and Irish influences, rather than the melting pot of global identities it became. The iconic image of the American cowboy, a symbol of untamed individualism, would be replaced by the mounted Royal North American Constabulary, maintaining order in the vast Western territories. The American dream, as we understand it, would be an unheard-of concept, substituted by a more traditional pursuit of stability, respectability, and advancement within the framework of a loyal subject of the crown. Crucially, the issue of slavery, abolished across the British Empire in 1833, would likely see a different, perhaps more protracted resolution in the resource-rich southern colonies. While the institution might eventually be dismantled, the sheer economic power of plantations cultivating cotton, tobacco, and sugar could have created such immense resistance that abolition might be delayed or involve a more complex system of indentured servitude, delaying full emancipation for decades, perhaps even a century. The scars of such an institution would be woven into the very fabric of society, but without the crucible of a civil war to reshape its legacy. The geopolitical landscape of this alternate Earth is dramatically reshaped, dominated by an undisputed global hegemon.
Without a burgeoning United States to challenge its maritime dominance, its economic might, or its ideological sway, the British Empire reigned supreme for far longer, perhaps well into the 20th century, effectively creating a Pax Britannica on a scale unimaginable in our timeline. London becomes the undisputed financial and political capital of the world, its influence extending into every continent. The immense resources and markets of British North America would fuel this imperial power, providing a seemingly endless supply of raw materials and a captive audience for manufactured goods. Other European powers, France, Germany, Russia, would find their ambitions curtailed, operating within a system where British interests held paramount importance. The scramble for Africa might be even more aggressive, with British claims solidified without an American counterbalance. World wars, as we know them, might never erupt. The intricate web of alliances and antagonisms that led to the Great War could be fundamentally altered by a vastly different balance of power. If conflicts did arise, the absence of American industrial and military intervention would lead to dramatically different outcomes. A protracted, devastating stalemate in Europe might collapse without the infusion of American manpower and resources. The subsequent Cold War, the ideological struggle between capitalism and communism, would be unrecognizable. Without the United States as a global superpower, who would stand as the ideological counterweight to a totalitarian regime or to an expansionist power like the Soviet Union, if it even came into being in the same form? Perhaps a British Empire, still formidable, would assume this role, or a multipolar world of rival empires would emerge, each vying for influence, leading to a different, perhaps even more terrifying global equilibrium. The United Nations, an organization born from the ashes of two world wars and championed by American ideals of collective security, might never see the light of day. Instead, perhaps a British-led League of Nations, more a tool of imperial consensus than true global democracy, might preside over a world utterly unfamiliar to us. The lives of those we know, those whose actions defined our history, would be irrevocably altered. George Washington, the rebel general, is immortalized in history, not as a founding father, but as a cautionary tale, his monument a simple plaque on the gallows where he met his end. Thomas Jefferson, rather than penning the Declaration of Independence, might be a brilliant but ultimately disgruntled scholar of classical languages, his radical ideas confined to private correspondence, if not outright suppressed. Benjamin Franklin, the versatile diplomat and scientist, could be an honored Royal Society Fellow, his inventive genius celebrated, but always within the bounds of imperial decree, his political aspirations a distant, unfulfilled dream. Yet, in their place, new figures would rise to prominence. Loyalists, those who stood by the crown, would become the new aristocracy, their fortunes and influence cemented. We might speak of Sir William Johnson, the powerful superintendent of Indian affairs, as a foundational figure in imperial governance, his policies shaping the destiny of indigenous nations for centuries. New literary giants would emerge, perhaps poets who penned epic verses celebrating British imperial might, or philosophers who articulated a different vision of societal order, one based on duty and tradition rather than abstract rights. The scientific advancements we've discussed would be attributed to figures unknown in our timeline, brilliant individuals whose intellect served the greater good of the empire. Even global figures like Napoleon Bonaparte might find their ambitions significantly curtailed or redirected without an independent United States to influence the balance of power or to serve as a distant ally. His ultimate defeat could come sooner or be more absolute against a unified British juggernaut. To gaze upon this alternate world where the audacious gamble of the American Revolution failed is to witness the profound fragility of history. A single turning point, a different decision on a battlefield, a subtle shift in diplomatic allegiances, and the entire tapestry of human civilization unravels and reweaves itself into something utterly foreign. The echoes of what if resonate with a potent reminder. The world we inhabit, the freedoms we often take for granted, the very identity of nations are not inevitable. They are the cumulative result of countless choices, countless struggles, countless triumphs, and indeed, countless failures.
In this parallel reality, there is no Statue of Liberty, no star-spangled banner waving proudly, no land of the free and the home of the brave to inspire generations. Instead, a vast, powerful, and enduring British North America stands as a testament to the might of empire, a steadfast pillar in a world profoundly different from our own. It is a world of order, perhaps, but one forged without the fervent, sometimes messy, spirit of American democracy. It is a world that serves as a stark, compelling reflection, a mirror showing us not what we are, but what, by the slimmest margin of history, we might never have been. And in that reflection, we find a renewed appreciation for the extraordinary, improbable journey that led us to the world we call home.